Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this panel called Music Supervisors at Work. I would just briefly introduce now, from your left is Andrea from Foerster. And yes, they traveled a long way and got lost on their way as well. Chris Clark, Kahn, and next to me on the right, Nora Felder. So that's who we are here. I'm Jesper, and some of you know me, some of you don't, and it doesn't really matter because I'm just here to try to pass time this afternoon. But we would like to know just briefly who you are, so I just wondered how many represent labels here? Yes. How many are managers, artist managers? Yes. How many are publishers? How many are music supervisors themselves? Okay, any artists? Yeah, so it's a mixed crowd.
Yeah.
Now we know.
Yeah.
Hey everybody.
Well, this is called Music Supervisor at Work, so let's go to work. The way we're going to do this is that we're going to start with a presentation round. I'll have some follow-up questions, and then we'll open the floor. But we will wait with your questions till sort of halfway through, and start from up here. So, Andrea?
My clip, are we going to do the clip first and then I'll talk, or?
However you like.
Okay, I'll just start. I've been in music supervision for 15 years. I've been independent for 9 years, but I worked for 3 other supervisors before that. I do studio films, indie films, network television, cable television, and online projects. My biggest project to date is still probably 500 Days of Summer from 2009, and it's funny, I've worked on over 120 projects, but usually I'll go through a lot, and because they're indie films, people don't know them. So I go and I watch people glaze, and then I say 500 Days of Summer, oh! So I get one. I work on the show Modern Family, and we just finished for the season. But I love coming to things like this and finding new music that I wouldn't normally have, and I am a big fan of Scandinavian music and British music before everything else, so by all means, if you have music, find me.
Should we see the clip?
I love the Smiths.
Sorry?
I said I love the Smiths. You've good taste in music. Yeah. To die by your side is such a heavenly way to die. I love them.
This is a story of boy meets girl.
They made a statue of us.
The boy, Tom Hansen, grew up believing that he'd never truly be happy until the day he met the one. The girl, Summer Finn, did not share this belief. You should know up front, this is not a love story.
I think we should stop seeing each other.
Just like that?
Just like that.
Start from the beginning and tell us what happened.
I tried to talk to her in the copy room. She's totally not happy. Maybe she was just in a hurry. And maybe she's an uppity, better than everyone super skank. In college, they called me perfectly adequate and handsome.
You used to call me anal girl. I was very neat and organized.
So you have a boyfriend?
No. Who needs it? We're young, might as well have fun while we can.
Wait. What happens if you fall in love?
You don't believe that, do you?
What? It's love. It's not Santa Claus. I think it's official. I'm in love with Summer. I love how she makes me feel. Did you ever even have a boyfriend?
Of course.
What happened? Why didn't they work out?
What always happens?
Get over her. I don't want to get over her. I want to get it back.
We've been like Sid and Nancy for months now.
We have some disagreements, but I hardly think I'm Sid Vicious.
No, I'm Sid.
Oh, so I'm Nancy.
That was one of the few films that I've worked on where I think we used almost every song from the film in the trailer. There was certain things that were written into the film, like the Hall & Oates song, You Make My Dreams, and that was the best day of shooting that ever happened. Right when you see the fountain and everything else, and it's the sort of post-coital fantasy sequence for him. There was a courthouse right nearby and jury duty was happening, so people, have to sit in and watch a trial, and they come out and they see people dancing and a fountain going off and music playing and a marching band, and it was probably the best day of shooting I've ever witnessed.
All right, thank you. Chris?
Hello.
Hello.
So I'm Chris Clark. I'm the senior music producer, and soon, hopefully, my boss changes my title to director of music at Leo Burnett in Chicago. So it's the global headquarters for a large ad agency global network based in Chicago. So there's a big office of about 2,000 people. I have a team of 3. We have about 40 to 50 clients across all of our agencies. Or excuse me, yeah, we have a bunch of sister agencies and sub-agencies. So some of the clients includes Samsung. We do a lot of their global work. Firestone, which is a large tire company. Kellogg's, all of their different cereal brands. A couple of insurance companies like Allstate and Esurance, which are big U.S. insurance companies. It's surprising, every week somebody comes and says, hey, I'm working on this piece of business, and I'm like, I didn't even know we had that account. So that's kind of the way they work. So a lot of licensing, I would say, is the majority of what we do. We also help our large staff of producers with original music, but for the most part, I am licensing everything from really unknown, undiscovered artists up to, the Hall & Oates type mega negotiations that occur. So yeah, that's my story. I'm going to show some couple. Okay, cool. Here's a couple recent spots that we just need to share.
True love will find you in the end. You'll find out just who was your friend. Don't be sad, I know you will. But don't give up until true love will find you in the end. This is a promise with a catch. Only if you're looking can it find you. True love is searching too.
Hi, Dad.
But how can it recognize you unless you step out into the light? Don't be sad, I know you will. But don't give up until true love will find you in the end.
Sweet. Thank you.
That was awesome.
Andrew. Get over here. There you are.
Yeah.
Andrew.
Okay.
You're on there.
My name is Andrew Kahn. I am a music supervisor. I also primarily work in ads. I wanted to be a music supervisor since I first found out about it when I was a teenager. I was obsessed with film, and then I got my first real job in advertising working at Media Arts Lab on all the Apple accounts. iPod and iPhone and iPad and my Mac and yada yada. I worked there for 4 years, and then I started my company called Gems 3 years ago. And we work for and whoever wants to hire us. So some clients have been Nike or Cadillac, Honda, Google, a lot of cars, and I think the one that we're going to show is a Southern Comfort spot.
Oh yeah. Speaking of gems.
baby, hit or miss.
Thank you. So the spots range from small, unknown, old songs to new, huge international campaigns with Yeah Yeah Yeahs or, you know, a new up-and-comer. Like Andrea, I love all sorts of unexpected music, so it's really great to be here and hopefully get some new good tunes.
Thank you. Nora? Your turn.
Hi, my name is Nora Felder, and I've actually been in the music industry for quite a while, although I know that surprises you because I look so young. But I started out, I moved to New York when I was very young, and I wanted to do anything that had to do with music. So I landed this job booking bands in a Lower East Side club and meeting all the label people and throwing these record release parties and stuff like that. So, and then I met the infamous music producer Phil Ramone, who thought I had a lot of chutzpah, so he hired me. And I started out as his assistant, and then within 5 years I ran his production company and worked with all these amazing artists like Paul Simon and Billy Joel and even like Iggy Pop and Malcolm McLaren and all these crazy people, and it was just a great experience. So then I moved to LA and just kind of fell into supervision, worked for a couple supervisors because, as Phil said, you're a song person. I mean, I was always great sitting with the artists and, you know, talking about songs and picking songs. So I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. Again, as long as it was music, I didn't really care. So decided I'd try supervision. I like the idea of moving picture with songs, something I'd never done before, and picked it up really quick. And I think with all the experience I had had so far with, you know, dealing with artists, booking artists, dealing with egos, artists with egos, all that kind of culminated into, and also having to, you know, organize productions, that culminated into the perfect formula to be a music supervisor. So, my first project I ever worked on was Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion. Yay. And I went on from that and with Disney Touchstone hired me and quite a few things, and I did crazy projects like, you know, Talking Bear, you know, with Don Henley and Bonnie Raitt singing as Talking Bears, and, you know, worked with all these amazing people. And then I had consultancy deals with Disney Touchstone and then this production company, Overture Films, and was working on all kinds of projects. And then I started going into TV because, you know, TV all of a sudden started becoming very important, and you know, the shows, you know, started getting better in general. There was a lot to choose from. They were like mini amazing movies. So I segued into TV, and I guess the show I'm most known for is Californication. We have a clip here, but it doesn't have any songs because I don't have a presentation reel. But I think it's just kind of a clip of the show in case you don't know what it is, you know the show. But is this show here? Does it show? I don't even know if it's on Netflix. It's on Netflix, yeah. So that was actually the composer's score, and that was the main title that they created for the show. But as everyone said here, you know, we all love songs and we all love music, and you know, it's all about just great artists, great songs. But you know, and we've all had to work on projects. Well, I don't know if we all have, but we've all, you know, had to work on projects that maybe we did it for money or something like that.
What?
And,
no.
But you know, and then we have these projects like Andrea was saying for a movie that just made our hearts go thumpity thump a million times, and it was really our heart and soul. And I think that Californication probably is because, you know, it's the type of project where if you've ever seen it, it's not the obvious. It's not, you know, a piece of a puzzle that fits perfectly. It's having to try and look at a song in a different way, or because Hank played by David Duchovny, he's the kind of character that you wouldn't have something obvious behind because he's a very eccentric human being, and so it's been 7 years of pure ecstasy. So anyway.
Thanks a lot, Nora. So we know who you are, and we basically know who you are as well. And it's a mixed crowd we have today. But one thing I think that everybody has in common here is that we want to work with you guys. So how do we go about that?
For me, I don't like physical copies of anything anymore because it just ends up being a fort in my house. And so I prefer things digitally. I also travel a lot, so having things in my email is a lot easier for me. I am 17,000 downloads behind, and that is not an exaggeration, sadly. But what I do is if people put, in their subject line, download, so I know there's something to download. If you mention that, we were here at Spot, then I'm going to look at it sooner than another email. And if you mention what type of music you have in your email, then I use my email as a database. So I just sort of search for that when I need things. If a link expires, then I just ask for it again if it fits something. So make sure a link doesn't expire for a long time if you can, because 1 month isn't enough for supervisors because we get so many emails. Emails shouldn't really be longer than this. If I get an email like this, it will never be read.
You get a haiku.
Yeah, exactly. Be creative. And then, it doesn't hurt to be funny. You read a lot of emails in a day. I get over 1,000 emails a day. And so, when you see anything that breaks that up, you remember that person. So if it's, something boring like usual, it's just another email. But a lot of people don't believe me when I tell them to be funny or something, just add anything. And I'm like, no, yeah, I'm like, trust me, you break up the day, so it's really nice. Or dog pictures. I'm a big fan of dog pictures. And I'm not kidding. I know more people's dogs than I do people at this point. But I like to know where an artist is from. So if you sort of put on the subject line, download, Spot Festival, indie pop or something like that, and then in the email say who you are, if you have multiple artists, that's fine. Just list, what type of music it is, where they're from, and what side you have. So if you have publishing, great. If you have the master side, great. If you have both, even better. If you don't have both sides, please let me know who does have the other side. So if you're the publisher, let me know who has the master. And then, just keep it simple. Have a link that doesn't expire for a long time. It can be, Dropbox, box.net, a lot of things. I don't love SoundCloud. I mean, I do for personal listening, but I don't want to have to download single songs, and it takes a really long time. So I just want one zip file with all the music so I can just hit, the link and be ready to go. And then following up, I don't love when people just have in the subject line following up, checking in, because it means you're not really giving me anything. You're just trying to check in, what happened with the last thing you sent me. But if I haven't gotten back to you, it's because it's not working for anything right now. So following up is kind of pointless and it's a waste of an email. So really, once a month, just go ahead and email me any new music you have. Music videos I do like, because when I take a mental break, I like to watch music videos. So if you want to put a link to that, great. Make sure it's good though. I've had people send me really horrible music videos that then tainted my view of the band. But you just keep it simple. And I sort of always say treat it like a letter to Santa. It's sort of like you send it off and then hope things go well. Because a lot of times, even if I don't like the music personally, it fits my project perfectly. So I don't necessarily have to like it, and I don't need to tell you if I like it, because that doesn't get anywhere. So I've used a lot of music that I didn't personally love, but it really did work for my project. So my opinion doesn't really matter, because we're all sort of vessels. We help, guide things, but we're not the last answer and who gets to choose the music. So we present it for what fits our project.
Do you all agree with this, or do you have different opinions?
That was great.
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
Thorough and right on.
I think I want to say one thing though, not just act like a rebel, but different it's great that everyone agrees, but different supervisors have their own way of viewing things. Like, for example, I do like to download per track. I don't like it when somebody just sends me a zip. But that's what's great about box.net, because I think what you need to do with everyone is find something that provides every option possible. For example, download box.net, you can option to stream per track, you can download per track, or you can download all. So if you just handle it that way, then you're going to hit, because for me, I don't want to sit there and download every album and wait for the whole thing to download. So, and there might only be 2 tracks in the link that I like. So for me, you know, that works for me as well as some other soups I know. So you want to provide every option so they don't even have to, you don't even have to ask them, how would you prefer? It's just kind of all there for them.
Yeah, there's a lot of supervisors that like to stream first and then
I
download.
agree with that.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with it. Instead of, a lot of times I actually won't, if it's just download zip, the whole thing,
Yeah.
I won't. It's stream to be able to download individual
Yeah,
sections.
I want to make a decision before I put that on my computer. Is this something I either just love or feel I can work with?
Right.
So the point I think from this is provide that option and provide any option right away so you don't have to figure it out and they can do as they please. It's like provide the full menu and order whatever you want, you know,
Right.
so. But yeah, everything she said, definitely. It's frustrating when I have to go back because our time is so limited. And Andrea's like me, we're small staffs. We don't have huge staffs. So do you have the publishing? Do you have the sync? What are the rights? It's great if it's all there in the metadata. We don't have to ask you any questions. And if it's a different master owner, put who the contact information is. So you want to make us do as little as possible so we can listen to the music, know where it came from, and you know, be able to do what we need to do with it. And if you dot all the I's and cross all the T's, an old American expression, then you're gonna, if you line it all up properly, it sets it up for the hoop shot better because we are getting flooded with so much music. So I think that's what I would add to that.
Definitely select all the tracks, put in the rights breakdown for master and publishing, put your contact, email, everything. So when we find that track in 3 years, and it's perfect for something,
it's there.
It's like, okay, I know exactly how to get in touch with that person. That's huge. So I've had like massive and we can always figure out who owns something, but especially if you're like a smaller publisher label, you're doing everything on your own, we have to be able to contact you.
Yeah, and try and put the date, you know, when it came out or when you sent it or something, because we'll be smart enough to know that if we find it 2 years later or a year, or if it lines up for something, wait, I got that a couple years ago, let me just reach out real quick to the person who sent, is all the contact information the same? Are you still the rights owners, da-da-da-da. So we'll do that, because, and that's true, I mean, a lot of us do, and I'm not gonna say everybody, but you know, sometimes I do find a track that I had listened to and found 2-3 years later that works perfectly for a scene, and just the planets align, but a long time later. So if we have all the information handy, we'll check back in with you. If we don't have the information, we're probably going to move on, you know, so.
And the other thing too, the only things that I would add are specific to the different industries that we are supervising for. I'm never going to be able to use I would listen to them maybe on my own if they're great, but I'm not going to be able to use songs about death, depression, breakups. Like I'm never going to be able to use that.
And I need all that.
These guys need that in throws, but for me it's like, and I try to guide all of our brands away from ukulele la 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 bullshit, because I hate, but you know what, I have to license that stuff often enough, because that's what they want when they're like selling shit.
Hand claps, finger snaps, wood poos.
I try to get away from that, but there's definitely a difference between knowing what industry in general you're pitching for, but I also like when people talk about, or when you don't send a full record, but send a sampler of like 5 to 8 songs, and you're like, listen, a couple of these are going to be really good for sunshiny, happy, whatever. This is going to be this is a strong R&B female vocal when you need like, something a little bolder, whatever. If you just put that in your haiku, that would be, but seriously, like the simpler the better, because I'll see something in a very simple write-up and be like, all right, I'm either going to stream or just download the whole thing because of what you said, because I have hundreds and hundreds of pre-made playlists, like I'm sure we all do, and past searches for clients, and that is what I rely on. I mean, that's my career, basically. If I lose my iTunes library, I'll go work at a supermarket. So, but I'll take your song and I'll put it in there, and if something is not relying on a brand new piece of music from an emerging artist, that's why I'll say, like, I will license your song 5 years from now, and maybe you aren't working at a supermarket, maybe you're the head of a record label, but you'll get some extra money down the road. So, how about that?
For trailers and ads and promos for TV shows, film and TV and online, are all different. They're not that different from each other, but for film and TV, we will have more thematic things like the breakups or weddings or whatever else, whereas with ads you are trying to sell something. So having the doom and gloom does not work out well. Right. You need things that are brighter, happier, or more attention grabbing. For promos for television, it's more on the nose. So I used to work on a show called Dollhouse, and we used a song called Dollhouse. But you would never do that for the show, because if you're watching the show Dollhouse and suddenly you hear Dollhouse, you're like, did they just say the name of the show? So, knowing that, don't ever say, I have this perfect song for your project. It's the same name as your project, because we wouldn't use it within a film or TV show, most likely. Whereas for a promo, that would be perfect. Trailers, I think, actually use some of the best music, as do ads, because you're trying to sell something, but it's very cinematic. So, you get to sort of grab someone's attention. Like that SoCo ad is hysterical.
Awesome.
And I think there's a little more leeway with most ads and trailers where you can use older music and it's like an ad on its own right now. Yeah. And so, does anyone have the music for pouring sparkling water? Yeah. So it's the music for ads and trailers, I think, is a little more broad in being creative, whereas film and TV, I think, is a little more specific. Like if I'm working on a music-intensive show, it's going to be probably more new music, so newer artists, newer things like that. I did used to work on Without a Trace for another supervisor, and we used things that sort of fit the over 30 demographic that was a little more family friendly. I work on Hallmark Hall of Fame TV movies, which are very family friendly, vanilla, like everything has to be
Hallmark's our client.
Is it really?
Good
Nice.
job.
And so then they use very sort of whatever's top 40, or something that sounds like top 40. So everything has its own identity, and the greatest thing I think for most people is that you don't need to know any of that. You just need to send us the good music, and then we get to determine where that goes. So when people ask me what am I working on, it doesn't matter, because I can spend 15 minutes telling you what I'm working on, or you can just send me the music and I can listen to it in the same time. Yeah. So for me, I just want to know, if I am looking for something specific and I haven't found it on my own, I will reach out because you've sent me music, and so then I can say, you have this kind of music, can you send me something like this? Right. And that's a faster process rather than 17,000 people in 17 days saying, hey, what are you working on? Because I can cut and paste the same answer, but if you don't have that music, then we're all just wasting time.
Maybe we could just move on to say, okay, so we've sent you our music. What happens next if you like it and think it fits one of your projects? What is the procedure from there?
We do a little dance, and then, anyone else?
It's all, Andrew, you talk, but it's all based on, for us, it's all based on the specific brief, right? The subjectivity of whatever client you're working on, whatever the creative idea is, and that could be a million different things.
If we like it and it fits for our project. Well, I'd say one thing based on the last topic that we were talking about is I am obsessed with finding all the best music that there is in the world, and I will be sad if I miss any of it. So I'd say all of the organization that we talked about is incredibly helpful, but if there's a way that you could make sure that we know how good the music is, if there's something unique that you could do besides, this is uplifting female vocals or whatever it is, if you could say that, this was already blessed by Pitchfork or this website or whoever, this won the top 10 new tracks. I can't really tell you what to do because it should be unique to whatever music you're working on.
Chart positions important, for instance.
Is what?
Chart positions.
Chart positions? Yeah, sure. Whatever is unique to the project that you're working on. Maybe it's not a charting type of song, but it's just the most beautiful, saddest song that you've ever heard, or this is a funny song that no one's ever heard from 1965. Just something that's simple that will break through the 100 emails that we get every day. Mm-hmm. I think that would be incredibly helpful because we got to click on it first. And like you said, there's 100 emails coming in every day that are vying for our attention. If it doesn't, and if it's good, I really want to know, and I want you guys who have good music to be able to break through. Okay, and then fine, we send the good music. Oh my God, we got it in this project. Next up, I've reached out on so many different levels. Sometimes I'm trying to pre-clear something. If I know that the budget is $50,000 for this car ad that I'm working on, and these are the terms, I'll reach out and say, hey, you sent me this great song, and I actually, there's a chance that we may be able to use it in this spot. Do you actually have all the rights to it? what rights don't you have? Tell me everything. Is there anything that's like extra helpful? Is it going to be in any other ads or TV shows or whatnot? So we need to know as much as possible before we present it to our directors or clients, because that's our responsibility, especially when it gets to that stage. You need to know, oh, you know, this, I came really close on the second round. That was the first year of Southern Comfort. And the second year of Southern Comfort I was working on with an artist called Tonetta. And the week that we were coming really close, he went on a TV show and like ate a woman's used underwear. So if there's any like controversial stuff or whatever it is that's coming up, let us know. So, you know, not just controversial, but you know, anything that's relevant.
I think that's my favorite story ever.
So that is amazing.
Yeah.
And that brings up also lyrics, if they're clean or not clean, if they're explicit lyrics, let us know. It's frustrating for me when people pitch me songs for a certain network TV show I'm working on, and it ends up there's, you know, 5 fucks and 3 shits, and you know, you can imagine, and I'm just like, this is network television, you know, you can't, but that goes back to what he's saying is, if you provide as much information as possible in the beginning, then we don't have to quickly, especially TV moves really fast, so we don't quickly have to ask you, who's got the master rights, who's got the publishing rights, you want to give us as much information as possible, so when we do come back at that point, we have very little to ask you. Hopefully all you're saying is, hey, I might have a possibility to use this song for this ad, and you've already got most of your answers there, so you know, that helps us a lot. And yeah, it's great if there's a cover song on the, let's say you sent a link to an album, is there a cover song of a classic cover, where's the band from, or where's, maybe the wife is from Copenhagen, or the female singer is from Copenhagen, or just little keywords that are, so we have a little bit of information. But yeah, I think the key is not too much though, because when I open up my email, which I just got from someone a couple days ago, and it was like, wow, and it was tons of information and blah, blah, and a bunch of links, and it's just kind of like, ugh, you know, you kind of want to just great, and go to the next email. It's like, to the point, give it your best shot, you know, make a compilation if you have different artists, pick your 5 best songs based on all the research you've done that you feel are great for placements. You know, and we were talking, there's a difference between great songs and great songs for placements, you know, which is another discussion as well. But you want to just line it up, and you want to put your best foot forward. You want to put your songs that you think work best for ads or best for TV shows, and do your homework. Another question that we don't like, and this is kind of like a therapy session too, but we don't like when people say, what style music do you use for that show? And it'll be a show that's on its like 4th or 5th or 6th season. You should never ask that question. Mm-hmm. You should look up yourself, do your homework, go watch the show, look up, there's plenty of sites where you can look up the songs and find out what type of music is used, to see if there's, unless the storylines change with every show, you can get up there and you can look up, you know, oh, is there a certain style that they use? Or not? Do they use different styles? Right. You know, there's so many things. I mean, like I have one show on CBS called Unforgettable, and each show has a different storyline. So one show I might use dubstep, the next show I might have Indian music, the next show, it depends on the storyline. So do as much homework as possible, because we have such limited time. We don't have time to answer these questions. So, you know,
there's
I think,
2 things is that also if there's samples, definitely let us know. You know, if it's cover, let us know, because it's not always a popular cover, or it may, you know, might be a regional thing, so we don't know. But one thing that I don't like getting in emails is, this song is perfect for whatever I'm working on, and I know for a fact that person has never seen it. And so already when I listen to it, I'm like, this is not perfect for what I work on. Now I don't trust you, because our entire job is based on trust. Because if we can't trust you, then how are our, you know, clients or bosses supposed to trust us? Because we don't have the proper information. So, you know, if you say this is perfect for Modern Family, and Modern Family we use mostly very well-known songs, because it's the kind of show it is. So, you know, if you say something's perfect for it, and then when I listen to it and it's obvious that, you know, we've never used death metal before, and clearly you just want to push what you have, you don't care about what I work on. And I care about what I work on, I care about what you have. But if you don't care about anything other than your own stuff, then I can't do business with you. Because I need to know that you're also looking out for what I need, and that you're listening to what I need. And so it's basically got to be a healthy relationship, or it's not a relationship at all. And so, you know, if you let us know covers, let us know explicit lyrics, have clean versions of your songs ready to go. For network television, you often have to turn in lyrics for all the songs so that they can go through standards and practices, and they can make sure that there are no swear words, because things have gotten through and been fined. That's a very hefty fine when you get bad words going through. And then just really, you don't have to oversell anything if you have good music. And if you don't have good music, what are you doing? Do you know what I mean? You should have good music and you should believe it's good. But you don't have to oversell anything. You just send it to us and sort of let us deal with it the way we need to. I don't ever need someone, you know, I don't need emails in caps. I have a lot of people yelling, "This is the greatest song!" And I'm like, why are you mad? Just, you know, just tell me, you know, like, you don't have to oversell anything. And so, and when sort of, the less is more concept also proves to me that you're confident in what you're sending me. If you overdo it, and I'm originally from England and I love my people, but good God, the emails are this long. And, you know, when I read an email that long, then I know that somebody is worried that it's not good enough, or some sort of desperation is in there, and I worry. I'm like, well, I don't know if I want to listen to this because that email is so long. So, you know, I'll check out Twitter, I'll check out Facebook. I am a social media nerd. So I find a lot of my music, you know, from SoundCloud, just listening for hours and hours and hours. And, you know, if the good music is out there, we'll find it, and it just makes it easier when you send it. But don't overdo it.
All right, we need to have some questions from you guys, if you have any. Do you have any?
Have we answered everything?
Because otherwise we'll just proceed.
Oh, I love that.
Depends on that. Depends on how good or bad it is.
Yeah.
That is a harder thing to answer, because it depends on, everything is based on budget with our job. So if I know something is major label or an indie, then that determines how long I listen to it, if it fits my budget. If in 10 seconds I can tell if something fits something or not. So if I'm listening for pleasure, I'll listen at least to the chorus. But if it's for a specific project, in probably 10 seconds or less, I already know if it has the right tone.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'll try to find the chorus right away, and then if I don't, I'll just be like,
no chorus.
But yeah, that is a good question, because we are reviewing things extremely quickly.
People would cry if they saw us do it.
Yeah. Skip around. Depending on what the need is.
Okay. Any other questions at this point?
Also, actually, too, songs that have, you know, the reason Coldplay has had so many uses in their life has really nothing to do with anything more than they have a lot of major chords. So then you could use it for happier things, you can use it for epic things. Yep. And there's an intro, verse, you know, chorus, verse, chorus, bridge, and there's a build, you know, and then it goes on. So it's not too repetitive, but there is a build and a change. So in ads and everything else, the build and the progression in the song is extremely important.
It's everything, because that's half the briefs that we get. Does it build? Is it an emotional builder?
Yeah.
But if your band is like a atmospheric, shoegazy, whatever, like 8-minute long progression type thing, let me know that in the email, because then I'll probably know that. I'll probably know that in the first 10 seconds anyway, when it's just a drone. But make that very clear, because then if that's your thing, I can use that.
Then he'll know to listen after a hard day at work.
And then I'll skip.
Yeah, I did home on the train.
Exactly. Well, yeah, that exactly.
And you know, another thing that's helpful. Did I just interrupt you? I'm so rude.
I'd say this is friendly.
Coffee here is too good. Instrumentals.
Yeah.
It's really helpful when you send the vocal version as well as the non-vocal version, the instrumental only, so that, because a lot of us, you know, I sit there and I actually, when I send my songs in, and it seems like I'm bragging because I am, I sit there and try and cut it. So, and figure out how to cut it, or give timings, you know, start it here, end it here, or go from the instrumental version and then go to this point. Because remember, we have to design this song to underscore pictures or moving pictures or scenes. So anything we can have, we might just want the chorus and want to lead the instrumental into the chorus. So, you know, you should, whenever possible, send that as well, or send a link to the album and the instrumentals, or, you know, if they're streaming links, have both, you know, vocal version, instrumental, so we decide, because sometimes I will not love the vocals, but love the instrumental underbed and think this could musically just be awesome, but screw those words, you know, it's like, so you want to give us every option possible for that song.
And we're, on my side, we're also, and Andrew, like, we're dealing with, and I know you guys are answering to directors, studios, etc., but I'm dealing with a bunch of creative directors, art directors, copywriters, like generally flighty people with ADD for the most part. So when I find something, I'm typing into your song title, ... skip to 142, and then 256. Like, when I send stuff on, just to cue them up. So you see the whole, when you guys get the picture, like, we're the conduit to these opportunities, but there's, you said, like 20 decision makers after us down the road. So they can only trust our taste or just, you know, deny it in our face and choose something that sucks.
We have 2 questions that we need to do because we are running short on time.
Go ahead.
We'll get right back. Jakob?
I think people want to hear how much money do you get?
That was my final question.
We pay?
Will you become a millionaire if you get one of the big shows?
I mean, it depends. There's no set price for anything, ever, I think. We're given a budget, and for TV shows, typically we know per episode how much we'll have. And that still doesn't mean that you get that amount, because if there are more songs in that episode than in another episode, then that means less for everybody in that episode. So one song in one episode might make more than an episode that has 5 songs. But it also depends on if it's major label, major publisher, if it's all indie, if it's library. So, you know, a library song might make $1,000 all in, meaning master and publishing together, so $500 per side. And then, you know, for an indie song, it could be maybe $3,000 to $6,000 all in. And, you know, maybe for a major label, it might be $15,000, you know, per side. You know, like if I just used a Carly Simon song, it might be $20,000 a side. But the music that I use typically is indie, and the money is small, but I make up for it in volume, because my indie films use a lot of songs. Even my Hallmark movie, we used to use 3 TV, you know, rent a TV movie, and now we use 28 songs. So the people who are good to me with the indie things, I come back to when I have more money, because I never forget anyone who does me a solid. And so then for indie films, it's probably less money. So I have a lot of $1,000 all-in cues, a lot of $3,000 all-in cues. But TV typically pays more for me than films do, just because I work on a lot of indie films.
We need to wrap it up, guys. I'm sorry. We could have talked all day about this. We should next time.
Yeah.
But thanks everybody for coming, and especially thank you to Andrea, Chris, Andrew. Yeah. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Justin. Thank you.